Alrighty, folks. We are all set up here. Let's see, who we got on stream today? Who is watching? Who watches the watchers? Well, let's take a look. It looks like we only have, well, I can't really see a list of everybody's here, but I know that Disco Frog is here, and I know that Dr. Doomapple is here. My viewing thing is saying we got one person on Mixer, one person on Twitch, and 6 people on YouTube. So thanks you all for showing up. This is going to be a pretty relaxed stream. We don't really have a lot that I'm going to do today. I know it's been a while since I streamed, but I just don't have a ton that I actually have to do. So what I'm thinking of doing, or what I am going to do today, is I'm going to lube some switches. So y'all might remember in the past here, I've done a couple different switch lubing things. I lubed this board here. This is my Zealios board. So that is a linear switch. That is a made by Zeal PC. The switches, and these are a fully lubed set. This is a GMK laser. Hey, Sour Drop, how's it going? Nice to see you on stream. So this is GMK laser. So you've probably seen a bunch of pictures of this on Reddit and maybe Instagram, things like that. So this is my my linear set. You can hear like how nice and smooth, kind of quiet these are. And then I've got this set here. This is these are, I believe these are 78 gram Zealios. These are also lubed. So these are a little bit smoother than the standard ones. Sour Drop, I am loving that keyboard. It's really nice. So this is another set of Zealios, also on a Preonic, because that's pretty much all I use. But this set here, this is DSA Legacy. So this is another one made by the same guy who made GMK Laser. It's very similar in kind of colors. Kind of hard to get them both on the screen at the same time. So that's a pretty nice set. This is a pretty nice set as well. I really like DSA. And these 78 gram Zealios I've always been a big fan of. But these are the ones that I lubed. So they feel a little bit nicer than this one. This is another set of GMK Laser. Dr. Doomapple is asking, what are my thoughts on GMK Laser? I love it. I think it's a very beautiful set. It's very weird typing on Cherry, though, because I haven't typed on Cherry Profile in a long time. Honestly, I think I prefer DSA, but it's very nice. They're a very nice set. So, to me, the difference between these lubed ones and these regular ones is not huge, but there is a little bit, you know, they're a little bit smoother on this DSA Legacy set that has the same switches. So this is what I'm going to be lubing today. This is also a lubed set. This is 67 gram Zealios. These are lubed 67 grams. These also feel nice. So, but I don't think that lubing makes much of a difference on tactiles for me. I don't feel a huge difference between them. They do feel nice, but they not nearly as nice as like these linears do. Lubed linears is a huge deal. Feel very different. But, so we're going to be lubing switches, but I also promised you guys that I was going to show you a surprise. And so, without further ado, the surprise. This. There it is. Now, some of you may be wondering, what is this? It looks very similar to this. Right? This is a Preonic. This also seems to be about the same size. Well, this is the Massdrop Preonic prototype. So this is the prototype that is coming out. It's actually on sale right now. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a link that you can check that out. But this is the Massdrop Rev3, or sorry, the Preonic Rev3. This is a prototype board. And I have been in contact with Jack from OLKB. And Jack from OLKB asked me if I'd like to test out the prototype. There's the link to it. You can check that out on Massdrop. So yeah, so I was in contact with Jack from OLKB, and he asked me if I would like to test drive the Preonic, the new Preonic Rev3. So that is what we're looking at right here. So this is a prototype board. This is a factory sample. It's not the final version of the actual board, but it is very close to what the final version is going to be. Here, let's get a better action view here. So you can see here, if I can get it to focus on the inscription on there. That's not going to do it right now. But yeah, that is a Rev3 PCB, and you can see it has the, these are the Kyle H hotswap sockets, which are also on a couple other boards. So that's the hotswap sockets there. It's got a new plate design that accommodates a bunch of different layouts and stuff. So it's pretty nice, actually. One of the biggest differences, though, is this right here. So this right here is the chip. This is the MCU for this whole board, so the master control. And this chip is actually an ARM chip. So the ones we've been using are Atmel chips, and this is an ARM chip, so they're a little bit different in programming. So this chip actually has a lot more power and a lot more addressable memory than the Rev2 and the Rev1 did. So there's a lot more things they can do, and one of the big things they can do, or two of the big things they can do, I should say, is one is RGB. So you can see these little holes that are cut in here. These little holes right here. Those right there are to allow RGB shine through. So that would be, there's going to be a daughter board that's going to sit under this one, and then it'll have RGB LEDs that shine through those holes. And I believe the way that he's thinking of doing it is that there's a couple breakout pads. I'm looking for it right now. Where is it? I believe that it's going to basically touch those pins right there. You're going to have to solder some pins in right here. And then basically that will allow the... oh, no, it's not that one. Oh, I don't know. There's going to be a spot where that board touches this board, and you solder some pins in there. And then this will allow RGB underglow. So not only will you have LEDs that can shine through here. Oh, sorry. That is one drawback of this board. The one drawback of this board is that I do not believe this supports LEDs. I think that was like the one thing that he was not able to accomplish because of the way that they had to put these Kyle H sockets in there and still support a couple other things, like they had to forego having in-switch LEDs. So this board does not have in-switch LED compatibility. So yeah, there it is, guys. This is the prototype. I was honored, and I am honored, to actually get to use the prototype PCB. And the beauty of it is that it is a hot swap board, so all I have to do is just pull the switches out. I don't have to desolder them or anything. Just pull them out, and I can put new switches in this. So today, I'm going to be lubing these switches here, and then I'm going to put some switches in this one, turn it on, and see how this thing turns out. It's pretty nice, though. I really like it. The case is a little bit different than the one that I have, mainly because of the way that they've changed where the USB port now. USB port is a USB-C, and so it's a USB-C port here, and then it also sits back a little bit further than the old ones did, so the shape of the case itself, you can kind of see this one has this fat edge, whereas this one does not. It's a little bit thinner, so it's a little bit different shape. But yeah, that's what it looks like there. It's pretty cool. Oh, Monkey Plus Plus says, so jelly. Yeah, you should be jelly. I've been keeping this as a secret for like, I don't know, a month. Jack contacted me about a month ago and was like, hey, I'm going to send you a prototype. And then at the Seattle meetup, I talked to Yanbo from Massdrop, and he was like, oh, hey, I got the prototype I need to send to you. And so I've been holding it under wraps for a while. Been wanting to tell everybody about it, but didn't want to get the cat out of the bag until I actually received it, and I just got it like 3 or 4 days ago. But yeah, it is freaking sweet. So you can see with the hot swaps, like using these switch pullers here, they really it just comes out. They're very easy to pull out. So that's nice. The days of having, and you can notice these are box switches, which have been reported to cause stem cracking on GMK caps and a couple other ones like stretching and stuff. So I'm actually going to take these switches off of there and replace them with a different switch. And so I don't have to desolder a board like I did the night before I went to the Seattle meetup, which was really annoying. I ended up desoldering 2 boards that night because they both had Kyle H switches on them, and I didn't want to ruin my new GMK laser keycaps that I had waited so patiently to receive. But yeah, it's pretty nice, and I don't know. We're like I said, we're gonna lube some switches today. That's the plan, but I don't honestly know if I'm gonna do much more than that. We have had a heat wave here in Washington, and it's been very, very hot. It's only 80 degrees today, but in my studio it's much hotter because of these lights that I've got up in here. And so I'm actually sweating like right now. It's very warm in here. So I'm probably not going to do a ton today until that cools down a bit. I can always turn my fan on too. That'll help a little bit. Get some air circulation on me. Cause yeah, it just bakes in here. And there's no ventilation really, so it doesn't really, no outdoor ventilation I should say, so the air just gets stagnant in here. So, what are y'all up to today? Anything exciting? I ended up kind of going to bed a little bit early, woke up a little bit late, so I got to sleep in a little bit. This project that I have for work has been really stressful and exhausting, and we're finally like rounding the bend and finishing out the project. So I am very excited for that fact because it's just been absolutely exhausting. I'm so ready for it to be over. But yeah, what have y'all been up to? Oh, this one does not want to come out. There we go. Yeah, sometimes these Kyle H switches don't really cooperate very well. I don't know what it is about these ones, but I've never had problems with Zeal switches. So it really just happens, just really seems to be with like the Kyle H switches. They don't always want to let go. But there's like some interesting trade-offs with Kyle H switches, that's for sure. And I believe these are box whites. Yeah, the box white, clicky. You still have a meetup hangover? Jeez. Monkey Plus Plus is another Seattleite. You still have a meetup hangover? I mean, I guess it depends on how much stuff you do at the meetup. I actually did not get a chance to really click on too many keyboards while I was there. I was so busy wandering around handing out keycaps that I really didn't spend a lot of time hanging out with people. Alright, so let's get these in a bag. Oh boy, I am so sad. Where the hell did I put all this stuff? I need a bag for these. Oh, there we go. Gabrielle Doria asks, what do I prefer, linear, tactile, or clicky? I am mostly a tactile guy. That's pretty much what I use on the regular basis. I use tactile switches. But I just got Zealios in the board that I'm using down here in the studio right now. And those are the first linears I've ever used. And I have to say that I like them. I like how they're constructed. They feel really nice. So yeah, I like Zealios, apparently. I didn't think I would. But they actually do feel pretty good. So I would say tactile's #1. And I do like clicky switches, like the box navy switches do feel very good, but the only problem I have with them is that they are the fact that they do make as much noise as they do, and that only because, you know, I work in an office and not everybody is as cool with clicky keyboards, and so I don't know. I'm a developer, you know, like, and we kind of like it to be quiet in our office, so I typically don't, you know, I wouldn't want to bring in my loudest keyboard into work and just irritate my boss. So I do like clickies, but they're just too loud. Too loud for me right now. So hot swap sockets, man, they make it so much easier. One of the other things that's interesting about this particular PCB is that in order to make room for some of the other stuff that that Jack is doing on this board, he had to go with what is it want to call it, north-facing switches. So that means that where the LED would normally go, here I'll show you real quick. Get an idea what I'm talking about here. If I can click this switch in, come on. This guy does not want to click in. Why not? What is in your way? Huh, okay, well. Don't know what's wrong with this switch, but it does not want to clip into that. It just will not go. Weird, it's like on one edge it just will not clip in. Yeah, it's doing that on a couple of them. Well, I'll figure that out. So it also has these weird little screws that hold the plate to the PCB. Now, what they did tell me was that this isn't the final version. So it might be that these little screws that I'm messing with right now might not actually be in the final version. So that's something to think about. I did briefly talk to the guys at Massdrop, and they're like, yeah, there's still quite a few things that they wanted to confirm were okay. So this is just an engineering sample. And I do believe they said that the PCB isn't the final version. It's the most recent version, and I think they finally signed off on it. So that's good. So that means that the final version, that there's one last revision they want to do with it or whatever, change to it, a few changes, and then they'll have the final version. So, but okay. So we're gonna try some other stuff on this. Come on. Yeah, for some reason these switches just aren't clipping in, and I don't know why. It's like there's just a tiny bit of resistance to them. Okay. Okay, now they're clipped in. But you know, the more I think about it, the more I realize I should be lubing these as well. So these are my 67 grams switches that I've been holding on to for a bit. Oh, that's not right. Oh yeah, it is, okay. So north-facing switches basically means that the LED slot here faces north instead of, so it faces away from you instead of towards you. And there are quite a few boards that do that, depending. I find that a lot of the commercial boards like Razer and or a few of the boards like Logitech and Razer boards, they also have north-facing LEDs because the keycaps are shine through, and so they put the numbers up top and stuff like that. Like the characters are up top, so they shine through a little better. But not all of them do that. All right. So yeah. So I think I might end up lubing these. I do want to lube those other switches though. They're in my my other Preonic. So you guys have heard this, like if you've watched my stream a bunch, this I consider my Cadillac. This is my Cadillac Preonic. I really like this board. Even though those linears, man, those feel pretty nice. So yeah, if I do end up lubing these, I usually lube the switches while they're in the plate. I just find it's easier to do it that way. They kind of they get held in place a little better. Just loose switches, I don't know. I don't like doing it that way. I don't know. I suppose I could. What do you think? Should I lube them in the plate? Hey, Monkey Plus Plus, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I will send you guys pictures or whatever. I'll post them in the Slack channel and in my Discord, so you can check them out. But yeah, that's might end up doing these just in a plate. So what do you guys? If you lube switches, how do you do it? Do you lube them in the plate, or do you lube them like loose, like this, like how they're just kind of open? Because what you end up having to do is you go in here with your switch openers and you got to pop the top open. I find that when they're in a plate, I can get in there and open the top, and the pieces don't go flying everywhere. When I was doing some switch modding a couple of weeks ago, before the meetup, I was having a lot of issues with trying to open them when they were just loose, because the pieces would just end up kind of going everywhere. It was really annoying. But how do you guys do it? What do you do? When you lube switches, do you lube them loose, or do you lube them in a plate? And I guess it depends how used to making them from scratch you are. If you're making a completely custom board, then you actually have the chance to lube them when they're loose. But if you're buying like a pre-made, like a Cooler Master or something like that, you're not going to have that option. So I guess that would kind of decide things as well. So yeah, I don't know. I do want to lube these though. I might as well, since they're already here. And it doesn't support RGB, so I don't have to worry about doing that. So tell you what, we'll put this build on hold for just for now, because I did want to lube these other ones. Those are more important. And I still have to figure out how I'm even going to put what I'm going to put together on that board. I don't know how to flash it, the prototype. I don't know how to flash it because I don't have... I have QMK, which is what we use to flash it, but I need to prepare it to be able to flash ARM. All my other stuff is flashing the Atmel chips. So I have to download the version that can flash ARM. Okay, well, here we are with this board. First things first, you gotta pop the keycaps off. So this did have, this had box Hakko Royal Clears, which are a box switch. I can actually show you those. These are Hakko Royal Clears. That's what these were. So these are a box switch. They're a tactile box switch, and they are very tactile. They're way more tactile than Zeals are, if you ask me. I really like them. They're like a nice heavy switch, but the problem is that the stem on them is too large, and so it stretches out keycaps and it breaks some of the keycap stems. So I didn't want to risk it because I just got my first GMK set, and it's the best looking set I own, and I don't want to screw them up. So I decided to pull all those off that board. And now I've got a bunch of these loose sets, or loose switches, that I can't use anymore, which is a real shame, because I like box switches. But Zeals are also very nice. And I went with the 78 grams on this one because I had pulled these off a different board earlier. Actually, yeah, I pulled them off of this board, now I think about it. And was it this board? No, actually I think it was the board I put linears in. But anyway, I had pulled them out of a different board, and they already had LEDs in them. So rather than like putting in my 67 grams that would need to have LEDs placed in them, I decided we'll just do it this way. It's faster, and I was doing it right before the meetup, so it was a lot easier. But yeah. So we're just going to pull these off of there, and then we'll open up the switch tops. Get in there with some lube. So yeah, GMK Laser, I think, is a very nice set. I have so many extra keycaps too. Like, I bought a base set, and then a base set, which was basically just all I needed for the regular alphas, and then I got the Gaijin alphas, and then I got 2 sets of novelties, and then a couple sets of mods. So basically what ended up happening is I had enough to fill out 2 entire boards, just with the, you know, like just for alphas and stuff. But like, you should see how many extra keycaps I have. It's ridiculous how many extra keycaps I have, because I don't use normal size modifiers. So like all the mod keys and stuff I don't need. And so I've got like tons and tons and tons of mods. I'll kind of show you just some of the extras I have. There we go. So this whole tray, this entire tray right here, I'm going to show. So this whole tray, that's all extras. That's all stuff I'm not going to use. Look at that. It's pretty much the full set. And it's all like mods and characters that I never use. Keys that I don't need. Yeah. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them yet. I was talking with a friend of mine, possibly he might end up buying them. Just because there's mostly keys that I don't use. So, and some of them in weird places I don't need too. Like, the enter key is in the wrong row for me. The numpad could be useful, I suppose, but yeah, anyway. And because it's GMK and it's cherry, it's the cherry sculpt, or profile, you can't just put keys wherever you want. If they don't match the right profile, it doesn't work. And you know me, I'm all about ortho, and so since it doesn't match my ortho profile, I really can't use it. So there we are. All right. And clean off my cat's contribution to my keyboard. All right, so now it is time for us to begin pulling the switch tops off. This part I do not like doing. This part kind of sucks for me. I just it feels very it could be very difficult. Sometimes the switch tops just do not want to come off no matter what you do. so I always get kind of frustrated at this spot, but I'm going to try to control my frustration this time. So what you do is there's two little, let's change this back to action cam. So what you do, there's like two little slots on the side here, and these little prongs get into that slot, and then you kind of pry them open, and then you can pull the top off. I've always found that it's easier for me to remove switch tops when it's in a plate, which is why I usually do it this way. There is a way of doing it from the bottom when you have them not in a plate. And like, so I think there's a lot of people who do it that way because it's a little bit, it can be very easy if you know what you're doing. It can be very, very quick to pull them off that way. I don't have as much luck doing that, and I've tried it with the last one I did, but ended up getting like the pieces went everywhere, and that was really not cool. Yeah. Definitely not my favorite part. Lewis the Spells 24. How's it going? Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome to my stream. We are pulling the switches out of this keyboard, and then we're going to lube them up, put them back together. What do you got going on today? It's a nice relaxing afternoon stream. And like I was telling the guys earlier, it has been extremely hot where I live last week, and so my garage is absolutely broiling right now. So I'm probably gonna make this a kind of short stream. Gonna do this part, and that's really all I'm gonna do. So it's probably gonna be about 2 hours or so. So just a short stream, and then I'm planning on doing another stream, I think, on Sunday. I'll probably be doing the rest of this Preonic, so probably doing the lubing of the switches in the Preonic, and flashing it and putting it together and all that. So that should be fun. And also probably some resin casting, because that's fun. It's actually going to rain tomorrow, so the temperature should go down just a little bit, and that will be very nice, because it is. They were saying that the temperature tomorrow is only supposed to get to a high of 70, and we're supposed to get thunderstorms, which we pretty much never get around here. But I'm from Ohio originally, so I get I'm used to thunderstorms. We get thunderstorms here, and everybody freaks out. And I'm like, man, thunderstorms ain't shit. We are moving right along. For once, these switch tops are actually cooperating with me, which is really nice. So we're gonna, the way that I normally lube them is I lube the sides of the switch, and I'll show you where that is here in a second. But normally what I do is I lube the sides of the switch, and then that's pretty much, and then the stem hole, which seems to work pretty well for me. But I think this time I'm also gonna lube the switch, the top housing. I did it on the linears, and it really kind of like helped muffle the sound a little bit. But I'm not like trying to get all overall silent switches or anything. I'm not crazy about like, I'm not like obsessive about trying to find like the ultimate silent switch or anything. But I do like that it muffles it just a little bit. Kind of makes it like overall kind of a little bit of a smoother sound. So that lube helps out. It helps out quite a bit. We also lube the springs. So a full lube of all the switches takes about 2 hours. So yeah, it'll be a fun little time. We got a lot to do next week in my project, so I'm trying to take it pretty easy this weekend. Just relax. And my stream on Sunday also going to be a pretty relaxed stream. I don't have any keyboards to build this time around. Probably not going to have a lot of keyboards to build for a while. Not until they get the most recent, or not until they start releasing the Preonic, and that Jack can get it on his website again. Because right now, the only way to get the Preonic is from Massdrop. So I'll go ahead and show you that link again. This is the link to the keyboard that I was showing earlier. This is the Massdrop Rev3 Preonic Revision 3. The one that you're looking at right now, this is Revision 2. The Revision 3, I have a prototype of right here. So this is the prototype for the next version of it with USB-C. It's compatible with RGB underglow, per switch RGB LEDs. So you'll be able to control them. Every switch will have can have its own color. So that's pretty cool. It's got improved plate design. It's really just overall a more interesting and better board. So that ought to be cool. We'll be doing that on Sunday. And it's hotswap. It's a hotswap board. So you can just like pop out switches whenever you want and change them out for something else, which makes it very, very convenient. I only have one other hotswap board. I have the XD75RE, which is also an ortholinear. It's 15 columns instead of 12. So you can kind of put a numpad in the middle of the board, which is kind of interesting. But I don't really use it. I just kind of don't like I don't like how wide it is. I like the compactness of the Preonic. It's got everything I need and nothing I don't. So there we go. Look, we got 10 viewers right now. It looks like we got 1 person on Mixer. We got 2 people on Twitch and 7 people on YouTube. It's actually being an awfully quiet night tonight. Quiet day today on it. I know I'm doing a little bit, doing my stream a little bit earlier than I normally do as well. Normally I do my streams after 4 p.m. Pacific time, but I kind of wanted to do one early today. One of the reasons why I wanted to do it early was so that my buddy Disco Frog, who was in the chat earlier, would be able to view my stream, because I haven't seen him in forever. I know he's been kind of lurking around my chat channel and stuff, and that's cool. So that's cool. I got to see him. Just picking out some cat fur. It's wild how much cat fur gets into my keyboards. And Dr. Doomapple too, because I haven't seen Dr. Doomapple in a while. And look, actually, just real quick, let's take a break for just a second. I want to show you. Look at these guys. These are the Artisan keycaps that I had been working on. Actually, it's been too hot for me to mass produce recently, so I haven't really been making very many of them. But here they are. These are the these are my Artisans, and I handed out a bunch of these at the keyboard meetup, the Seattle keyboard meetup. I handed out like 100. Not of these particular ones, but 100 Artisan keycaps all the time. So, different styles and stuff. But yeah, these are the finals, man. They look great. So I'm going to start selling these here pretty soon. It's been too hot to do mass production, so that's why I haven't been doing it. It's, like I said, it's been like 90 degrees, and when the temperature gets that hot in the studio, the resin just cures almost instantly. so I haven't really been able to work on it. But yeah, I'm actually planning on selling those probably later this year, sometime in September. I still have to get a website together so I can make, so I can accept orders and stuff. I don't expect to sell more than, I don't know, 50 or so. People seem to be hit or miss on them, and I'm not famous either, so like the more famous keycap makers, they make them and everybody goes bonkers for them. I'm just not famous, which is fine because I don't really want to make money off of them because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun, but I have a full-time job and I can't spend all my time making artisan keycaps. So Tim Brown says, I wish you were at the meetup. Tim Brown, so you say you'll buy one, huh? Well, that's good to know, and thanks for stopping by. Actually, I didn't know, you must have just popped in. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I'll let you know when they go on sale. I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you look on YouTube, if you scroll down on my channel there, you can see that I have a Discord channel. I'll go ahead and post that in the chat so y'all can see it. But there's my Discord channel. And I do all my stream announcements, and I talk about keyboards, answer questions whenever I can on that channel there. So once I start doing more stuff with the resin keycaps, I will let everybody know on that channel so that you can jump in and grab one. I'm probably going to do some kind of poll or interest check so I can see how many people want various colors, so I can make sure that there's enough of them. Because I can, I'm trying to make a bunch. Oh, Tim Brown is key on Discord. Hey, well, there we go. I mean, shit, man, I didn't know that was you. It's hard for me to keep everybody straight because there's like, I'm on like four different channels and stuff. And I talk on the Slack channel and then and a bunch of other places too, so I get lost. But hey, man, well, now I know it's you. Definitely welcome to the stream, dude. It's pretty cool. Do you live on the West Coast, Tim Brown? I can't remember if you said you lived on West Coast. But yeah, I live in the Washington area, Washington State, like North Washington, and geez, man, it has just been so freaking hot. And like where I live, it's kind of known for being very mild, like the summers are very mild here. So this has just been a shock to everyone. It's just been super hot like every single day, and like everyone's miserable. Okay, so I said I was going to show you, so I will do that too. Oh, sweet, you live in Seattle, nice. Well, shit, man, we should meet up sometime, and then I can maybe I can give you a keycap in person. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and do this thing with the action cam. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Let's change this focus a little bit. All right. So what I'm lubing here is on the sides of the switch there, you can see there's like two. I'm going to try to point at them as best as I can with an actual paintbrush. Okay. So you can see that there's like these rails right here. So what you do is you kind of get your switch, your brush with some lube on it, and you just kind of put lube on these two rails right here, just like that. And then what I'll do is after I'm done doing all the rails, I'll come back in and I'll put lube in this little hole right here. which is it's this guy right here. I'll put lube in there. And then also, on the switch top, I'm going to put lube right like inside like these top parts here. It's kind of hard for you to see them here because they're, you know, obviously the switch being clear and everything, but you kind of put it into this top section because when the switch stem comes back up, it hits this part right here. Here, I'll show you on the top side. It hits this part like right there. And if you put lube in there, it helps to kind of dampen that sound just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put lube in those spots to help dampen that out a bit. And then the lube on the side rails, it just makes the switch tracking, the switch motion much more smooth. So, and I don't put a ton in. You really don't need a bunch. You just need like a nice little bit. I don't really know how much lube people put on their switches, but I don't put very much at all. Just a little thin amount. Even though I do want to see what it's like to type on a board that has like super thick lube in it. I just don't really know if it would make that much of a difference. Problem I always have when I'm doing switch lubing though is I lose track of which switch I'm lubing. So then I always worry that I'm not lubing them. Especially when I'm like chatting and stuff in chat, because then I completely lose track of it. I have no idea what I'm doing. But yeah, key. Sometime I'll let you know. I'm probably going to be coming to Seattle in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'll be coming down to Seattle and the Green Lake area, visiting a friend of mine. So yeah, maybe we can like get together and talk keyboards and stuff, and I can sell you I'll make my first sale of a Tentacle keycap. And I'll bring an assortment so you can choose which ones you want, you know. I haven't decided how much I'm going to sell them for yet. I don't know. I don't know what a fair price for those is. But I wouldn't want to go higher than, I don't know. I wouldn't want to go super low, but I also don't want to sell them, like I don't think they would sell for like 20 bucks or anything. So I'm not going to go that high. As nice as they are, you know, I don't think people would want to do it. Oh, is there a taco truck in Green Lake? I've only actually been to the Green Lake Park, like the lake itself, one time. I went on a really long walk with a friend of mine, went all the way around the lake and then back to her house. So it wasn't like a super long walk, but it was like 7 miles or so. So Billy Elliott Mann is saying the LED, if you had to hot swap switches and those LEDs were soldered, would you still be able to remove the switch? You saw a hot swap board. And I wonder if you will switch. No. So if you have a switch that's soldered inside the actual, if the LED is soldered inside basically or anywhere on that switch, then no, you wouldn't be able to pull the switch out, because it's that soldering is going to hold the LED in place, which is going to hold the switch in place. So it's like a nail almost. Some boards, not many, but some boards do have or are compatible with this these things called They're not SIP sockets. They're, oh, I can't even think of the name of it. Holtites. They're called Holtites. Holtite. And you can actually put those in the PCB for LEDs. And then those LEDs are then hot swappable. And so I've seen people use those. They can be very difficult to put in place because the soldering of them is very delicate, but it's not doable. It's just you have to really know what you're doing. I haven't personally used them before, and not every board is compatible with them. The old Preonics used to be compatible with them, I think, but since that's, I think, Rev1, they were compatible, but Rev2 and above is not compatible with Holtites. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, Billy, just like you said, yeah, it's like not every board can actually hold them in place. So usually you have to end up soldering the Holtites in place, and that's where it gets complicated because it doesn't always work. So yeah, we're just gonna go and fly through this here. I'm trying to be a little bit fast about it. We still got a lot more stuff to do. Oh, and there's some kind of funk in here. That's not good. You soldered in hot swap sockets for your Otemu Skies on your Atom 47 since the switch holes were too big. Interesting, the switch holes are too big. So I am using, Billy Elliott, yeah, I'm just going to call you Billy. So Billy, I am using Tribosys 3204, which is actually a combination of lubricants. It's a mix, basically. You can get it on oneupkeyboards.com. I'm trying to think of the other places you can get it. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it's pretty popular. This is like a medium thickness lube, I would say. It's definitely not a thin lube. I think it's very nice. Yeah. So you don't understand the hot swap hype before having more layouts? Yeah, I could see that if you're using like one of the more like boards that has more more layout types. But I mean, when you really think about it, though, how often do you change your layout? Like, how often do you decide I want, you know, a bunch of 1.5 unit keys over here, and then like a 1.25 here, and then a 1 unit here? I mean, I guess it could happen, but I think that overall, it's a, you know, if you have a build that you like and a board that has a really good standard layout, you know, then I'd say that that's a little more valuable because you don't have to mess with soldering as much, so you can change out switches pretty frequently. And I think people, like most people that I know, like to change out their switches more often than they change their layouts. They have a layout they like and they use that layout. Like me, I mean, my favorite layout is Preonic, right? So my Preonic, it has one layout and that's it. It's a grid. So for me, it makes a lot of sense because now I don't have to I don't have to desolder all my switches. I can just go in and change out the switches as needed for when I want a new one. And, you know, had my boards been hot swap, I wouldn't have had to spend so much time that one night before the meetup desoldering a bunch of switches because the Kyle H switches were causing so many issues. I could have just gone in and removed them. That would have been much more convenient and easier to deal with. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Yeah, that's exactly. A lot of layouts aren't going to be offered because of that. And honestly, I would not be surprised if some manufacturer comes up with a way to make hot sockets that hot swap, you know, those hot sockets there that can be changed out or soldered into place without having a bunch of complicated stuff going on. Oh, everybody's texting me. I don't know what's going on. Usually people leave me alone, but today I just gotten a ton of text messages. I don't get it. It's weird. It's like feast or famine. It's like suddenly everybody wants to talk to me. And why? What have I got to say? Nothing. Yeah, Billy Elliott, I agree. A lot of boards, I mean, there are some, there's like some boards that have just tons of layout compatibility on the bottom row, and that's great for people who really need that. But, you know, the compatibility and stuff with boards, it's nice and all, but you really are at the whim of, like, you know, the person who's making it. And it seems like, I don't know, I guess I don't really understand the variety of layouts either, but I don't like staggered boards. So, because I find staggered boards to be kind of asinine. Like, why you want to waste so much space and have your keys so far apart? It doesn't make any sense to me. Once I discovered ortho, I was like, holy shit, everything is right next to each other. I don't have to, like, put my hands on different sides of the board just to, you know, type some different keys. Like, everything is right where I need it. Now, obviously, opinions vary, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Tim said, or so Key's saying to solder those boards with a paint. Yeah, I desoldered 2 full boards in the course of one day, and I have a desoldering gun, so that definitely helps. But damn, it was still an absolute pain. It just takes forever. You know, you're just like constantly like pulling stuff, and then like the heat and everything, and the smoke, and then you have to go back in and resolder everything. It just took forever. I don't know. It wasn't the end of the world, but I definitely had better things I could have been spending my time on. I still got to the meetup on time. So Billy is asking, you were looking at a 5x15 ortho. Those fit in all those standard 60% cases. I can't say all of them, but from what I understand from other people who've had them, like this, the XD75RE, which is a 5x15 ortho, does fit in most poker-style cases. Some of them, it's not quite the right fit because not all of them have the exact same dimensions. but from what I've read, like a vast majority of the 60% boards, the cases, the XD75RE will fit. So if that's the one you're looking at, then yes. KBR75? Is that an ortho? I've never even heard of it. Yeah, the cases get expensive, exactly. Well, cases and key sets, right? Key sets also, they're just ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I'm losing track of which ones I've lubed now. Having a hard time keeping track of it, reading it. The Keyboard Republic 75 Ortho, is it really? I've always heard of it as the XD75RE. I've never heard of it called the KBR Keyboard Republic 75. But I'm not, I mean, whatever. It's probably the same board. Oh, okay, yeah. You can buy it off of Keyboard Republic, I believe, is where most of the time people end up buying it. So that's probably why people call it the KB75, KBR75. But I bought it off of Massdrop, and they were calling it the XD75RE. So that's where I got my name for it. But it is a nice board. I mean, it has hot swaps in it, so that's cool. When I got it though, it didn't have. Yes, and it is a QMK board, which is also very nice. I believe you have to, if I'm not mistaken, I had to flash it a specific way to get it to use QMK, because I think by default a lot of those boards from like China and Keyboard Republic, they're actually meant for TMK, which is what QMK is a fork of. So you have to like flash the boot map, and then you can use QMK on it. So I had to do that first, and it wasn't too hard. It was just running a couple extra commands to get it there. I had to use like some specific piece of software from Keyboard Republic, if I remember correctly, and that allowed me to flash it with QMK. But these days, almost every board's compatible with QMK. And like, if a board comes out that's not compatible with QMK, everybody's like, why did you release this board? Okay, that's row 3. This is taking me a lot longer than normal. Alright, so I'm just gonna, okay guys, I'm gonna ignore chat for about 10 minutes while I just I just want to lube these so I don't lose track of it again, because that row took me way longer than it needed to. So if I don't answer, it's just because I am nose to the grindstone getting these switches lubed up. Because I got a lot of switches to go. I think it might be time to get a new brush. This brush is kind of old. I think this is a synthetic. Might not be. I needed to get a synthetic brush or synthetic bristle brush for this. As they tend to have a better springiness to them. Some of you probably know, but not everybody knows. I also a painter, and so I kind of know the physics and stuff of various paintbrushes and how they perform in certain situations and stuff, and from using them for many years. And so I want a brush with a little more springiness to it, because they tend to spread things out a little better, and they last a little longer too. Synthetic brushes are very nice. It was pretty cool talking to the Massdrop folks. And you know, it was, not only was it cool talking to them, but like, I don't know, I got to talk to them about some ideas of stuff that I had, and you know, they were like genuinely interested. Things that I've wanted to work on, things that I kind of have planned for next year, and they were very interested. They wanted to figure out, like, how do we want to do this? Do we want to go forward with it? And kind of giving me heads up on how to do things. And so, you know, like, I know people give them a lot of hate. You know, they have a lot of places they can improve, but they recognize that fact, and they are willing to work with people. And whether or not, you know, depending on whether or not, you know, they've messed up in certain things. I mean, I was part of the plank drop, you know, the second plank drop they did that went like really badly, and it was delayed for like an extra 6 months. And you know, that kind of made me mad, but I still buy stuff from them because they help the community quite a bit. They do a lot of, you know, exposure for a lot of things in the community that wouldn't get made if it weren't for the fact that they existed. There's a lot of boards out there that would never have been made because they're able to get better deals on manufacturing, and they're able to get people interested in it. You know, their marketing, they're able to like reach out to like thousands of other people and say, hey, this is a thing you might be interested in, would you like to buy it? As opposed to like trying to get it out there through something like keycap, which I never liked. To be honest, I would go through keycap and it just seemed like everybody was a jerk. So I wasn't impressed with the way keycap was set up and the people that were on it. People around the world are jerks in general, and like, we're a pretty small niche group of people. Why be jerks? What's the point? What are you getting out of it? Nothing. You're getting nothing out of being a jerk. benefits no one. Alright, that row is done. Am I buying GMK Cadet? No, I am not buying GMK Cadet. I looked into it, and I didn't like the fact that, so they have a 40% kit, right? So they got this 40% kit that supports a couple different boards, but it doesn't come with arrow keys. So I'd have to buy a whole kit just for arrow keys, and the price just didn't seem that great to me. And there was some other stuff that kind of made me mad about it. That there were some things going on in the community that were upsetting. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Evan from the Van Keyboards is, but he had a group buy that was going together for, or basically a Kickstarter for a new keycap profile called Hub. And basically some of the marketing that happened with it and a few other things got misconstrued. I feel like it was misconstrued, and people got their freaking panties in a twist. And basically the guy who's running GMK Cadet has specifically decided to not include a keycap type that is basically needed for the Van keyboard, because he doesn't want people to buy the Van keyboard. So he won't sell keycaps for that board, so that people have no, they won't buy his board or use it or whatever. And like, come on, that's so petty. That is, I don't know. And maybe it's just because these kids, they're kids. That's acting like a child. If you ask me, that's acting like a child. Because it doesn't really hurt the person like Evan. It has no effect on the boards that are already out there, right? It basically just makes people who already have that board less likely to buy those keycaps. And like, what does that do? Like, how is that beneficial? It's just seems pointless. I don't know. That's just me, though. It seems like a behavior that doesn't really help anyone. And like, yeah, I mean, I don't know the guy, but like, the people who bought that board are the ones who are suffering. It's not hurting Evan, right? Like, it's not hurting him at all. It's basically just punishing the people who bought his board in the past. And what's really weird is that Massdrop sold that board, and so now they're selling a keycap set that is specifically was set up so that it doesn't include keycaps for a board they sold. And, if you want to go by extension, what if, like, say for example, let's say I do something that pisses them off and they know I like the Preonic, and so they decide we're not going to sell any keycaps that would fit the Preonic from now on because, Atari Zero did something that made me mad and that's his favorite board. Like, that's going to punish a whole other group of people. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, hey, and you know what, Key? If you feel that way about it, get on the Massdrop forums and say something about it. Say like, hey, this is kind of a jerk move and you shouldn't do it that way. Because there's actually quite a few people out there who feel like, oh, I was going to get this set, but now I can't use it because of this, little feud going on. And I don't even own a van. I don't even own a minivan. Like, I don't. It just seems kind of like a weird move. I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't really affect me because I don't own that board. But if I did, you know, have something that I liked and then someone didn't want to sell, you know, pieces to customize it because of some, you know, argument they're having with the maker, it doesn't really seem like it's a nice thing to me. It's just punishing me for decisions that had nothing to do with me. So that's my take on it. Long-winded take. And who knows? Pyro, what is up, dude? Long time no see. I'm lubing up some switches here. Just getting my clicky clacks all lubed up so they sound nicer. But you missed it, dude. I unveiled something that I've been keeping secret for about a month now. I'll show you again real quick because we're just about to finish lubing up this last switch here. But yeah, dude, this is the secret. This is the prototype. So this is the revision 2 of the Preonic board, and this is the revision 3. This is an engineering prototype for the new version of the board. They sent it to me because they know I'm such a big fan of it. So they sent it to me so I could test it out. I haven't had a chance to really use it yet, but yeah, this is like, it's got the new PCB in it, hot swap sockets. It uses USB-C instead of micro USB. So yeah, they sent it to me because they know that I'm like a crazy fan for it. And I'm gonna go ahead and share that. I'm gonna go ahead and share that link again so y'all can see it. But yeah, they sent me. Let's see. Yeah, dude, it was pretty cool that they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, you know, you're obviously a big fan of it. Would you like to try out the version?" And of course I do. But yeah, here's the there's the link to it. That's where you can buy it. It's actually on sale for another week. Yes, Senpai definitely noticed me, and I was really stoked about it. I just thought that was super cool. Senpai noticed me. Yeah. All right, so now we've lubed the sides of the switch. Now we need to lube the stem hole. Yeah, it looks like it's basically the same as this one. It just has a couple of different things on it that are new. One of the things that's really new about it, obviously, is the hot swap sockets. That's pretty big, but also that it supports what do you want to call it? It supports I'm trying to remember the name of them. They're like a dial, basically. So like, it's like a little dial rather than a key. It's a little turnable knob. And so you can like click this knob to set it to different layers, and then you can also press the knob as if it's a switch. So you can like set different layers. You can change musical styles. There's all kinds of stuff you can do on it. I don't have any examples of it. But that was one of the big things that he built into it. The guy who designs the board, Jack Humbert, is actually a musician. He just happened to build a keyboard one day, and everybody really liked it. So, but yeah, he's a musician, I think, by trade. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, it supports like, well, the keyboard itself makes music. I don't know if I've ever showed that to you guys. I don't usually do it. But yeah, the keyboard itself actually makes music. Oops. There it is. Okay. Huh, hold on. I gotta fix it. It's been a while since I've used it, so Now I seem to have borked it. I can't remember my layouts. Sometimes I just forget my layouts. But yeah, that's basically like you can set the audio mode on and off, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I can't remember my actual default layout. I think it's this is. Okay. There it goes. There it is. There's the audio mode. And you can change the voices on it. Oop. Okay. Trying to find the one that. But anyway, that's music mode. It's a fun little thing you can do on them, and a lot of people don't know about it. But that's on there by default. And actually, this particular model has an upgraded speaker in it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll show you where it's at on there. But it's got a different speaker in it. So this one's supposed to have a better sound than the old one did. And I think that he set it up so you can actually do, there's a spot on the board where you can put in a regular stereo jack, so you can send out stereo as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So Billy is right now, and they're talking about on YouTube. They're talking about hot swap sockets, and yeah, hot swap sockets are rated for like tons of insertions. So the chance of them like wearing out is pretty thin. Just because, you know, if you're changing your switches enough, like 100 switch changeouts, that's quite a bit. You'd have to be changing them all the time. And, you know, maybe there are some people who do it that often, but, you know, like if you were having to desolder them, that would take forever. But, you know, with hot swap sockets, you can change them out more often. But, I mean, I don't even know anyone who has 100 enough, you know, I know people have 100 switch types, but I don't know people who have enough of 100 switch types to change out a full board 100 times. So yeah, I'd say that they're pretty safe for a long time. But Pyro, what's going on? Hey, Kylo, what's going on? Hey, man. So, Pyro, what do you got going on today? Because I'm actually thinking about jumping on some Warframe a little bit later. If you want to join up. Play some Frames of War. Frames of War. May your hammer be mighty. Do they make a 5x15 Preonic? We don't XD if we can play chiptunes. So no, they do not make one of those. They will soon. I think they're planning on making a, well, it will be a 5x14. Pyro says, haven't killed any acolytes, so missing out on those mods. What are you talking about? Acolytes. Oh, so Carly's streaming now too, Kylo? Tell her I say hi. What are you talking about, Pyro? About killing any acolytes? What is BO4? Atomic? Yeah, so he's not making the atomic anymore. Jack isn't going to make that. He's making the subatomic, which is going to be 5x14. So it'll be one row less than the atomic. Oh, the Acolytes of the Stalker event. Yeah. Okay, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, so if you want to do those, I am totally down. I should be done with this stream in about, I don't say about an hour. And then I will totally be down to join you on that because I only have like 2 of the mods that they drop from previous events. But I would love to hunt some of those guys down with you. Naruto, what's going on, buddy? Hey, so for those of you who are joining on Mixer, who are friends of mine from Carly Toboggan's stream, you may not know about it, so I'm just going to go ahead and post this in there. Guys, this is the link to my Discord. So if you want to join my Discord, you can join right there. Yeah, and that's where I'm at usually. I'm on there quite a bit now. I mean, I'm on Carly's as well, but I felt like I didn't want to keep, using the self-promotion tab and announcing that I'm going streaming on someone else's stream or someone else's Discord. I felt like it was probably better for me to have my own Discord. I feel like it's a little rude to use someone else's Discord to say that I'm going to be streaming. Cool. Thanks for joining, Kylo. And so what we're doing today, right now, we are lubing switches, which is tedious work, but it's worth it. So we're lubing these switches. So what we're doing is we're just putting this silicone lubricant into the switch housing, which makes the action of clicking the switch a lot smoother, a little more pleasing. It also quiets the switches down quite a bit. So it's kind of nice. It's relaxing, but it is time consuming and a little bit tedious. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Billy. And you can always find me on my Discord channel. I announce on there when I'm going streaming. I don't have a regular schedule, but I tend to stream on the weekends. Usually on Saturdays is when I try to stream. Saturday at like 11 o'clock. I also try to do like one stream during the week when I have the chance. So, but yeah, thanks for joining. Yeah, and so basically we're just taking this lube, a little bit of lube on the end of a paintbrush, and you go into the switch housing, which I've already lubed part of the switch housing. Now I'm lubing the slider, the stem hole, and just get some lube in there. Doesn't take much, and actually you don't want a lot in the stem hole because it makes weird noises if you do. You just need enough to buffer it out. So, key, no, I did not. I never got it working. I mean, it types, but just that one, the outer rows just don't work. I can't figure out what happened. I don't think it's a hardware problem, so I think that there was something wrong with the maybe with the software. But I looked through it a bunch of times. I couldn't figure anything out, so I desoldered the whole thing, which was a shame. So I'm probably going to end up redoing it. I just don't know when. Oh, that's where these switches came from. Yeah, these all came from the Nyquist. That's right. Now I remember. Yeah, these are all from the Nyquist. So, because I had... I swapped them out, pulled these switches out, and I had to go in, and each one of the LEDs were in here were swapped the wrong way, so I had to pull out each LED and flip it around to the correct direction, then solder them back in. It was a very time-consuming project. Because on the Nyquist, half of the switches, like the LEDs, face the other direction. So you have to go in and make sure that they all face the correct direction. So yeah, that was why. So that was annoying as hell. At least I'm pretty sure that's what I put them on. I can't remember if I put Zealios on those. I don't know. That week was very stressful. Not only was I having to redo a bunch of my boards because of that Nyquist not working and because of box switches being all screwy, but also because my work week itself, work was being really stressful too. So I had keyboard stress and work stress. Man, it was a lot. We're like halfway done with this lubing. After we're done with this part, I have to lube the springs, and then that doesn't take as long. Lubing the springs is like just a few seconds per spring. And then I have to lube the top housings, again, which it doesn't take that long. Top housings is pretty quick too. So we're about halfway done. And really, I can be faster about this too. I'm just being careful. So, Key, what's your favorite board? What do you have? Like, how many boards do you have, and which one of them is your favorite? I don't think I've asked you that yet. Obviously, my favorite board is the Preonic, which is why I have 5 of them. Well, technically, I have 6 now, right? Because I got that prototype. And I did sign up for another one. I ordered the Rev3 because I had to send this prototype back to them at some point. I haven't figured out when, but I will. You have a Massdrop Preonic, a Rev1 Nyquist, a Philco Majestouch, and a Dell AT101. Wow. Your favorite is the Preonic, though. Yeah, the build is awesome. I freaking love the Preonic. It's Connor, it says, don't get this, WTF. Well, I'm lubing switches on a keyboard to make them feel better. That's what I'm doing. I used to not get it either until I tried it, and then it turns out that it does make them feel a little bit better. So it's kind of nice having lubed switches as opposed to unlubed switches. You know, it's not like, to me, it's not like it's night and day, but it does make them feel a little bit better. They're a little bit smoother. And if you do it right, you don't lose any of the tactility of your keys. And they still feel good. Yeah, lubed and broken in switches are nice. You know, what was awesome was Box Royals, which I actually really liked. Box Royals felt very stiff at first, but once you brought Box Royals in, they felt like, I always describe them as clicky without the click. Like they had a very sharp, very short tactile bump that collapsed immediately. So they felt like a clicky switch, but they weren't clicky at all. Which was a really cool feeling. So I really liked that a lot. It was a lot of fun using those. Unfortunately, I had to desolder those. Or no, actually, those are on the Preonic I loaned to someone at the meetup. And I warned him, but he said, whatever. So, so in a couple months I'll get that back, and then I'll probably desolder those as well. And yeah, I don't know. Some of these boards are probably going to end up being desoldered eventually, because once the new box switches come out, because Mike Sickler, the guy that runs novelkeys.xyz, he said that there will be new box switches coming out that have fixed the overly large stem issue. And so the overly large stem issue, they will, once those are fixed, then I can like get those switches again and replace them. So I'm not sure which ones he's planning on getting first. Like which ones he's planning on fixing first. So I'm sure there's going to be like a schedule of when they all come in. But I'm going to get Box Royals again, and I'm also going to get Hako Royal Clears again, because I think those two are among my favorites for switches for sure. And then I think the other one that I was looking at getting would be Box Heavy Browns, or sorry, Box Heavy Burnt Oranges. That's what it is. Box Heavy Burnt Orange. Because I am going to be modding my boss's keyboard. I did that one time on stream, where I basically took his Philco Majest Touch and swapped out a bunch of switches in it. So I'm going to do that again with a different board of his, and putting in, I'm not sure if I'm going to put Zeals in. I'll probably end up putting those browns in there, or sorry, the burnt orange switches in there. Because they're pretty cheap, but they feel very good. He just said he didn't really feel the difference between the in the tactility between the cherry browns and the Zealios I put in there. So he's freaking crazy, but he says he doesn't feel the difference. I don't know how he doesn't feel the difference, but he says he doesn't. But yeah, I'm gonna put the burnt orange switches in there because they're cheap, but they're also very tactile. And I think he'll like them. Or who knows, I might even put those Royals in them. You don't feel the difference? Oh man, the difference for me is like night and day. They're so much more tactile. Zeals are so much more tactile. Browns just don't, they just have, to me, they have almost no tactility in them. They're way too light. All right, guys, we've been streaming for about 2 hours. Hey, what's up, Alex? Head to the gym, man. Yeah, I was there yesterday, and it was a very heavy workout. All right, so now we are going to lube the tops, switch tops themselves, and then we'll lube the springs, and we'll be done. Alphonse, what's going on? Loomed browns feel linear. Yes, they do. They have zero tactility. And I used to think that was just a meme. But then once first time I tried Zealios, I was like, holy shit, yeah, they are very different. Much nicer. Okay, so now we're just lubing the tops. Lubing the top housings. I learned about this from a guy who's in my channel pretty often, Mange HD. He told me to lube the switch tops, and I didn't believe him, but it does make a difference. It does make the switches a little bit quieter. So again, it's not a huge difference, but it does make them just a little bit quieter. Yeah, it's like a lot of times I'm like, okay, you guys are crazy, but then you're like, okay, let me try it out, and like for the linears, it made a huge difference. Lubing it was massive, but and to be honest, I don't think that fully lubing these tactiles really makes that much of a difference, because tactility kind of beats out a lot of that, the tactility aspect of it. I'm not really sure how to explain it. I just feel like the tactility kind of dampens the lubing that you put in there just a little bit. It doesn't make it worthless, but it doesn't, you know, changes things just a little bit. So all right, what's the next thing I gotta try out? Because the thing is, I don't go for like things like silence. That's not really what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for a different tactile feel. Put some dampening foam. Yeah, see, like, it's not the sound that I'm after, it's the feel. And what's weird is, like, there is a little bit of a change in the feel between when you lube the top side of switches and when you don't. Because when the slider, when the stem comes back up and hits the housing, when they've got lube in them and they're dampened, it has a little bit of a different feel. It just feels a little bit more like, well, it feels dampened. So that's what I'm after. Because the sound I don't really care too much about. Because I think the quest for a completely silent board or a very silent board is just a bit much for me. That being said, I also don't really want to use I don't use a clicky board at work because I don't want to annoy my boss who sits right next to me. But, you know, I don't think that for me that I really need to have like an absolutely silent board. Alright, so we are moving right along with this. Ugh. Switch lubing is very tedious. Yeah, and this brush has seen better days. It's like all frayed now. I'm gonna have to get a different brush here real soon. This will probably be the last time I use this particular one. Yeah, I just realized that you guys can't really see what I'm doing on a camera. Yeah, and actually, so I only have one aluminum case too, so it's just this one Preonic I've got. The other ones are the easy on the wallet versions. And I have the old school Preonic as well. I have like the Rev3, which apparently is pretty rare. I didn't realize that, but yeah. There's not a ton of them out there. Part of me is kind of sad that that Jack decided to change plans about the board, about the PCB and stuff, mainly because, I mean, he hasn't sold Preonics in almost a year now. Sorry, he hasn't sold, like, case Preonics in almost a year now. He was only offering the easy on the wallet ones. And then he had the wooden cases that he still sells on his site, but they're not compatible with they don't. You can't use a plate with them because he didn't have a plate to put on them. So you were able to use the easy on the wallet PCBs with them, but you couldn't use the plate. And then he didn't have a plate for him, and so it was just like, what am I supposed to do with this case? So I didn't buy one because I basically reached out to him and said, hey, you know, like, are you gonna make plates for this or not? And then he started announcing the new PCBs and all that, and that's when I realized that he probably wasn't planning on changing it. I think they're supposed to be compatible though, so I might try that out. So yeah, actually I should reach out to him and see if he's the wooden cases are compatible with the new PCB, because if they are, I can try that out and see what those look like, because that could be pretty nice. What side did I lube on this? I think I missed one side. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell if I've lubed one or not. Yeah, almost there. So once we're done with this, we'll put the switches back together, turn the board back on, and type a few things. Get a good idea of the difference between them. And what's great is I do have another lubed 78 gram board, and that's this one here. This has lubed 78 grams. So this one, we'll be able to tell the difference between this one, which has lubed 78 grams, but the top housings are not lubed, and this one, where the top housings are lubed. Then we'll be able to tell the difference between the two. can't remember what LEDs are on this board though. I think the 3 that I've got on my desk right now are magenta, which is pretty much my favorite LED. I've got, I still have, this lube's actually running pretty low, but I actually have a bunch more. I have like 4 more tubes. So so far, this 1 tube of Tribosis 3204 that I have, I've actually lubed 3 boards with it now. 3 Preonics though, which is 3 Preonics is only, 180 switches, so basically only 2.5 a regular size board. So I'd say pretty long lasting, pretty good. Oh, man, is it tedious. We're going to take a short break here, just a second. I want to drink some water. Gotta stay hydrated. It's so hot. Actually, there we go. Caffeine. Okay. Back to it. Yeah, this is a very relaxed kind of stream. Just a few things to do. Not bad. Sweet. Key, so I think if you reach out to Mange, I believe Mange has a ton of Vent Blacks. And he would probably even lube them for you and send them to you. Obviously, he's in Sweden, so, it would take a while for them to get here. But I bet he'd be happy to do that. I mean, you just pay him whatever for shipping and the cost of the switches. But I'm pretty sure he has like a ton of old, like a bunch of vintage boards. Bax14, what's going on? The surprise is that I have the manufacturer's engineering sample of the Preonic Rev3. So this is the this is the Preonic Rev3. I'm gonna put this together and do everything next week, or not next week, probably on Sunday. I'll be putting this together. So there you go. That's the surprise. the guy that makes the Preonic, Jack Humbert, reached out to me because he knows that I like them as much as I do, and I'm always talking about them. So he reached out to me and asked me if I'd like to test out the Rev3, and I said yes, of course. And so he contacted Massdrop, and they just happened to have an engineering sample on hand. So he had them send one to me. And so there it is. And I haven't had a chance to do anything with it yet. I've been really busy. But I'm going to be putting some switches into it. And probably lubing the switches and then putting those in sometime on Sunday. And then we'll have... We'll flash the board, we'll test it out, we'll see what, different things we can do with it. So, should be good. Should be a lot of fun. And it's hot swap, so I don't have to do any soldering. I just put the switches in and boom, go. The only thing is, of course, that it doesn't support RGB right now. They're getting the RGB daughter boards made. The prototypes are being worked on, so who knows, maybe a couple of months those will be out. I think they're going to do a separate group buy on Massdrop for those. But we will see soon enough. I think I already lubed this one. Yep, I already did. Wow. Almost halfway done with these now. And then we'll lube the springs, which definitely takes faster. A lot less time. So we'll lube the springs, put those in place, the whole thing goes together, and then we are good. Put the keycaps back on there, and do a typing test. So top housings just take time. This fan has really helped cool me down, though. It was so hot in here when I got in here earlier. Like, it was so hot in the studio that I thought about canceling the stream because it was just absolutely sweltering in here. This garage doesn't really have good insulation from the outside heat, and so it's just been baking all day. In the winter, it's nice because I have this wall here, and it just stays nice and warm. But yeah, in the summer, there's nowhere for the heat to go. So it just cooks. So we got quite a few left. Actually, I think we're just now halfway done with the top housings. So okay, so the next thing that I want to do probably sometime this year, well, I'm going to start selling those tentacle keycaps, but the other thing that I want to do is I'm going to build a new keycap. I'm going to build a new Artisan. I do like the tentacle one. I think that it's a lot of fun. But I want to build something that's a little more... I'm like really big into like geometrical shapes and stuff, so I'm probably going to build something that's a little more like shape-like. I haven't decided what yet, but I started coming up with some ideas the other night, and so I think it'll be once I get past the design phase, I'll probably post some pictures on the Discord of what I'm working on, see how people like it. Because the tentacle keycap is a lot of fun, but it's very tall. It's a very big keycap. And that's this one. If you guys haven't seen it, that's this one right here that I designed. And it's very big. It's a huge keycap. But I wanted something that was big and kind of obnoxious and kind of out there. So I definitely succeeded on that front, because it is very big. So the next one I want to do is going to be a little more subdued, and perhaps people will like it. Some vaporwave caps. Well, I'm just going to break everything. Hold on. How about these ones? These are more like laser, I guess. Here, I'll... Yeah, Vaporwave Cthulhu. Cthulhu Wave. But yeah, I want to make a bunch more of that particular colorway, because I think that a lot of people will really like it. Since, you know, laser's out there now, everybody's got laser, so... I have a couple more things I want to do with it, though. A couple of people have asked me to do stuff in Hyperfuse, Elder Wave. A couple people asked me to do the colors of the Hyperfuse colors, but I actually don't own any Hyperfuse keycaps. So I really don't know what they look like. But I have a couple ideas for a couple other ones. I want to do a black and green one for Terminal. Because a friend of mine actually has Terminal keycaps, and he wants a version that's in Terminal, like the Terminal colorway. So I'll probably get that done first if I start copying other colorways. Or not copying, but doing anything. Cherry Profile Cherry profile space bars. Well, I have cherry profile space bars now. Now that I have the laser set, I can actually start making cherry profile keycaps. I just haven't gotten around to making molds of them yet. So problem is that cherry profile is very shallow compared to SA. And so actually have, I know I have some, I have a whole set of their space, oh there we go. Yeah. So like, I mean I've got like these cherry space bars or whatever. I think this is 6.25. I can't remember. I don't know which ones are which, but so yeah, I like will be able to use one of these for it. But yeah, I can get those started. It's just that they're very shallow, and so it makes it harder for me to do interesting things with them. So it really depends on what you want it to look like, what kind of effect you're looking for, like what is it you would like? What kind of color would you like? All that nonsense. Because you're not the only person who's asked me. You know, like other people have asked for a cherry profile as well. But like I was saying earlier, I'm not really looking at it as a way of like making a bunch of money. Just because I don't know. I have a really good job, guys. Like a very, very good job. And I make a decent amount of money. I live alone. You know, so like I don't need the money as extra cash. I'm just doing this for fun, really. So a lot of times I just kind of have to like think about what I'm going to spend my time doing, because the time is more precious to me than money is. So if it's something like, oh, that's going to take forever, I'm like unlikely to do it. Which is why I'm always like kind of lamenting doing switch lubing, just because it just takes so long. What I should do is, you know, I know Mange is, he's still in high school, I think. So I should tell Mange to lube my switches for me. And then I'll just pay him, you know, for his time. Because he's the one that's so crazy about just making sure all the switches are lubed properly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mange is in high school. I can't remember. I know he's young. But shit, I mean, I don't know if you guys know how old I am. You might. Okay, whoever's watching, if you can guess my age, I'll send you a keycap. You get one guess. I'll give you one guess to how old I am. And I doubt. Nope, I'm not 30. Definitely not 30. Dr. Doomapple, you are close, but nope, not 36. We'll see if anyone else tries. I don't think anyone else is going to try. I know that there's some people who are on right now, but they're probably just lurking. You want me to tell you? Let me just tell you how old I am? Hyacinth jacket? Nope. Not 35. So, you're the closest so far. I actually turned 39 next week. I'll be 39 next week. Yeah, I grew up in the 80s. Like, I was alive and well in the 80s. Yeah, one of the guys that I talk with a lot, in like the Seattle keyboard group, he like blew his mind that I was almost 40. He thought that I was the same age as him, or at least a couple years older than him. But he's in like his early 20s, I think, mid 20s maybe. $32? Nice. I'm trying to think, let's see, 32. Where was I when I was 32? 7 years ago. Oh, I was living here. I was living in Washington. I actually moved to Washington in 2010. There's my cat. I don't know if you guys can hear her. She is meowing at the door. Oh, so many more. I only have, looks like 8 more of these to do, 7 more to do, and then we're done. Vapey Bear, what's going on? Thanks for hosting me, bro. Awesome. I didn't even know you were here. What's going on, man? It's good to see it, buddy. So now you get to see the tedious things that I do. So what we're doing is I'm lubing switches. I'm putting silicone-based lubricant into the switch housing, which then makes the switch feel more smooth while I type on it. Oh, Black Ops 4, that's what it is. Someone was, well, Kylo was in here earlier and said that he was watching Carly playing BO4, and I had no idea what BO4 was. Black Ops 4, okay. So what kind of game is Black Ops 4? It's a shooter, but like what's the style? Like what do you do? I never got into those, like the Black Ops or Battlefield or Spec Ops, or I don't know what the other different versions there are. I never really got into them. I'm not a competitive person though, so a lot of those games, they kind of depend on PvP. There's like a very small, very thin story campaign, and then it's all just PvP after that. But I just don't play PvP games. I am not a competitive person by nature. It's just multiplayer, yeah. Yeah, but what kind of style is it? Is it like a stealth killer kind of game, or like is it just all out fighting? 'Cause I know some of the different games, they have like, you know, different, you know, the difference between like a Battlefield game versus something like Black Ops. It's like there's something, you know, that say, oh, this is different, this is better. Because otherwise, to me, it's just people running around with guns. Each game is going to be the same. I don't know what the difference really is. Like, why would someone play one type of, like, a Battlefield Modern Warfare versus Black Ops? Like, what's the difference? Because they both have guns, and you just fight each other. It's just all-out war. Huh. Interesting. I tried playing Star Wars Battlefield. I played the original, didn't like it. Like the one that came out on the recently. And then I played Star Wars Battlefield 2 because I had a free like trial of it. So I played that also very briefly, mainly because my brother was playing it and I wanted to like be able to play with my brother. But yeah, the whole PvP thing of it really just bothered me, because I'm just not very good at PvP at all. I'm, like I said, I'm not very competitive, and so PvP just kind of like, it annoys me. And then like, I have no desire to get good. And so it's very frustrating because I'm like, well, I'm against these guys who are just absolutely stomping me and I can't even like get a single kill on them. And so it just gets to be very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Okay. Switch houses are done. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Hyacinth. I actually haven't seen you on the channel before, so thanks for stopping in, and I hope you stop by again. Yeah, my brother and I, Vapey, we used to play a lot of the original Battlefields on the original PS2, but we never played like online multiplayer. We just played against each other. Basically just like destroyed each other. That was like our little fun. Because when those games came out, I was in college. He had just gotten like his. Oh no, I was actually in the Navy, and then I would come home to visit, and we would play that. And he had kids, so he didn't really have much free time. But, you know, when I'd come home to visit, his wife would take the kids out, you know, take them to their grandmother's house. And then he and I would get a chance to play Battlefield. And so we would just, like, spend all night just basically wrecking each other. I felt that was more fun. Because he and I, like, neither one of us was very good. You know, we were both terrible. But it was more fun just, like, killing each other and laughing about it than playing against a bunch of people who take it way too seriously. Because PvP for me is more fun when I'm playing against a person who's like in the same room and I can talk to him and talk shit to him and laugh and stuff at him. Because I just don't take it seriously. For me, it's more fun trying to do stupid shit with each other. Like, one of our favorite things to do was we'd set up trick shots and try to, like, you know, shoot through a window and, like, you know, bounce the bullet off of something and, like, kill you. Or, you know, things like see if you can activate a grenade and see how far you can run with it before you blow up. That kind of stuff. Well, he and I played the original GoldenEye back in the day, too. And that's pretty much what we did. Is we just got our friends together and we didn't even try to kill each other. It was just dicking around, doing stupid things. And heck, that's kind of how I play with a lot of the games that I play now. Even today, I still do that. Which reminds me, I'm probably going to end up playing some Warframe after I'm done doing this. I'm going to get myself some dinner, play some Warframe. I'm actually trying to... so I actually have my setup upstairs set for streaming for video games as well. So I might actually stream my games here soon. I just haven't done it because... I don't know. I get nervous playing video games while other people are watching, so I just kind of don't really do it much. But if you guys think you might want to watch me play video games, I'll totally set it up. I got a couple of games I want to play through that could be pretty fun. So, Vapey, what's your favorite video game? Like, of all time, when you think about it, and it's just like, that's the game that I want to play, I want to always play it, it's the best. What game would that be for you? And, like, I'm thinking more of, like, if you had this game to play and it was the only game you had to play, you could be like, okay, I'm fine with that. I could play this forever. What game would that be? And it could be from any time, any console, any era. For me, it's a tie. I would say, for me, it would be a toss-up between... I would say for me, my favorite game that if like I had to just play that one game forever, it would be a toss-up between the original OG like 1999 EverQuest. I would play that forever. Or Phantasy Star Online, like the original Phantasy Star Online. Those two games like defined me when I was in college. GTA 5 and Super Smash Brothers, nice. I have never gotten into the GTA 5 or GTA games. I did play the GTA 2, the original GTA 2, which was like a very old top-down video game. I played that one. And then I tried playing GTA 3. My friend played it more than I did. And I basically just watched him play it. And then really all we did when we played GTA 3 or even GTA 4, he played it. That was another thing, is like he and I's way of playing video games, we would just dick around. And so for us it was like the fun thing would be like trying to launch our car across like an area or something and see how far we could launch it. Yeah, GTA 2, again, it was still top-down. That came out when I was in college, and we had the British invasion version of it at work. And we would load it up and just play GTA 2 for like hours at work while we were waiting for tech support calls to come in. And we didn't really have anything to do, so we just sat there and played video games. And my boss, he did it too, so he couldn't say anything. If he didn't like us doing it, well, don't play it then. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would do too, baby. I would just try to see, like, how many wrecks can I put this car in? Like, how many like things could I plow this car into before it just doesn't work anymore? And it was always fun. Well, I know there's a new version of it out, but like another one that we played a lot when I was in college was Carmageddon. Played Carmageddon a lot. And that was, you know, the original Carmageddon. Carmageddon and Carmageddon 2. And I think when we got Carmageddon 2, that was right about the time that Carmageddon 2 came out, right around the time that, man, what movie was that? I think it was The Phantom Menace, actually. Came out around the same time that The Phantom Menace came out. And so we found a bunch of mods to put some of the like Star Wars ships and stuff into Carmageddon, and we just wreck those, and man, that was so much fun. We had a mod for this dump truck that was like, I don't know, it was probably about, the truck itself was like 10 times the size of a normal car in the game. And so when you played it, the camera positioning was really funny, and you would just like roll over other cars, and then we'd mess with the physics with it and see what kind of like really ridiculous things we could do with it. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, one of the things that I've always wanted to get into doing and I haven't done is getting into Gary's mod and just like building really weird, like doing really weird stuff in Gary's mod. But I've never had the patience to learn how to do it, so I just haven't done it. So again, here's what we're, just so you guys know what we're doing is we're lubing the springs on these as well. And the reason for lubing the springs is when you press down on the springs themselves, there's some torsional tension that gets translated to the spring, into the housing. And if you lube them the way that I'm doing this here, which is just putting a little lube on the inside and the bottom, because then it touches the bottom of the housing, but if you put some lube in there, lube it up this way, it prevents the spring from getting what's called spring creak, which is like a weird kind of like ding 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 sound that springs make. It doesn't prevent it entirely, but it helps quite a bit for that sound to be reduced, because that torsional tension is what causes that. Vapey says, mods make games so much more enjoyable. I really want a PC so you can get mods on GTA. Yeah, you should get a PC, man. I like, I know Carly's always asking me to play games or whatever, tell me to use the Xbox and stuff, but I have a PC. I have 2 PCs. I've got, well, 3 technically. So I got the one down here that I'm streaming on, and I've got one upstairs in my computer room, and I've got my laptop as well. And so for me, console gaming is fun, but I like only certain games for console gaming. In general, I don't really enjoy, you know, in general, if a game, I can get the game on PC, I'd much rather get it on PC than get it on console. That's a very general statement, though, because certain game types I really like on console better. Like, I prefer playing things like Skyrim on the console, typically, but not always. Oh yeah, what are you doing now, Vapey? What's your job now? What is it you're doing? I think, because I can't remember what you were doing before. I should pop into Carly's stream. Once I'm done with this. We're almost there, guys. We're so close. We've been streaming for about 2 hours and 42 minutes. I actually thought this was going to go way faster. I should have known better because lubing takes forever. But this is, I call this deluxe lubing, because not only did I lube all the switch sliders, but I also am lubing all the springs, and I lube the top housings. Like, this is like, for me, is like ridiculously large amounts of lube. Normally I wouldn't do this much. Normally I wouldn't lube them at all. But this is my Cadillac board, and my Cadillac board should be treated with the respect. Oh, nice, dude. That's pretty cool. Working an insurance job. Well, that's cool, man. I hope you make it. I hope you can do it. Yeah, sometimes those jobs can be hard to do. But I absolutely wish you the best. Some people can do it, some people can't. Oh, it's a lot better than working at an Amazon warehouse. Yeah. Dude, they tried getting me to join, to like work at the warehouse, and I was like, what the hell? What's funny is that I applied for a server, like AWS, so Amazon Web Services server admin job, and I got to the second interview, but then just couldn't answer their questions satisfactory. So, but then they called me and asked me if I wanted to get a job at the warehouse, and I was like, guys, no. Like, come on. I just tried getting a job doing, like, you know, server management. Why would I possibly ever want to work at a warehouse? How long were you there, Vapey? How long were you at Amazon? Yeah, it just sounds brutal. And like the fact that you like your brakes and stuff being like so tight and strict, and like, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some real horror stories, but A year and 9 months. Oh, dude, you were so close. Damn, that sucks. But yeah, if you just can't take it, man, you can't take it. I totally understand. I was kind of the same way with the Navy. You know, like, I got out of the Navy early. You know, I still had quite a few years left. I had like 3 years left. But I had a 5-year contract with the Navy. But I just couldn't freaking take it. I couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, I've heard some real horror stories, man. Like, I've heard of people, like, basically just being like, well, I really need to take a shit, but it's not my break, and I'm gonna get in trouble if I, you know, slow down, so I'm just gonna shit my pants. And like what? Like, how could you work for a job where you basically be like, it's a better idea for me to shit my pants than to, you know, go through the trouble of trying to ask for a bathroom break? Like, what kind of job does that? Like, that's not worth it. Classmate hates it in the Navy, but he is getting ready to rejoin because of it. Oh yeah, like, the benefits obviously can be very nice. They paid for my college degree. You know, like, that was a huge benefit. But it was like all the other bullshit associated with it I just couldn't do anymore. The waking up at, like, you know, the crack of dawn, getting, like, the worst thing for me was standing watch. Ugh. Like, getting up at, like, 4 a.m. to, like, go stand in one spot and just watch things. Like, that sucked. So exhausting. And then, like, you do it for, like, 4 to, depending on the watch, it's usually like 4 to 6 hours. But just like 4 to 6 hours of just standing there, and like that's it. Yeah, that sucked. But once you get into, you know, like, the higher ranks, you just don't get watch anymore. So, like, the only people who do watch are like E3 and like, well, E4 and below, I should say, are the only ones who get stuck with watch. Yeah, it sucked. And like, parts, like, usually when I would stand watch, I would have to stand watch, like, at the barracks. So basically, I was, like, standing there, walking around the barracks, making sure that people weren't doing stuff like lighting fires or shitting in the hallway. You know, like, that's really all you did. But, like, you know, everybody was, like, drinking and shit, and it was, like, you know, having to tell my friends, like, guys, turn down the radio, it's way too freaking loud, and it's 11 o'clock at night. You know, and they're, like, drunk as shit, and, you know, everybody just gives you crap, and it's like, yeah, I know, I'm standing watch, it's very funny, but, yeah, like, chill out, calm down, and turn your music down. Yeah, when you get to the higher ranks, like E5, once you get to like E5, they just don't really ask much of you anymore. They still do, but it's not as much. And then once you get to like E6, like, yeah, you don't do shit. When you get to E6, you're basically a manager. And so you're managing the E4 and E5 and, you know, those guys. And so as long as you have like a good squad, they pretty much take care of themselves. And so you kind of just go to meetings and make sure the work gets done, and that's really all you have to do. It's not a ton of work. I probably could have made E6 in my first tour, but I didn't want to re-enlist, and well, I had a bad time of it anyway, and so I got out early. But my mom was in the Army for like 26 years, I think. So I've definitely seen, like, you know, how you can have a pretty good time in the military. Play your cards right, things can go very well for you. All right, we got 3 springs to go. We're almost done. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we'll put keycaps on, and then we'll be good to go. It is a very long process doing this. Radon, what's up, man? You are tuning in at just basically the tail end of the stream. We're just about done lubing all the springs. We've lubed all the switch houses, the switch housings. We've lubed, we got 3 springs left. I thought we had 2, we have 3. Yeah, so we're just about done. We're gonna put the keycaps on, and then I am gonna go eat some food. All right, Dr. Doomapple, thanks for chilling out, watching the stream. I hope to see you again. I will be streaming probably on Sunday, so keep an eye out on my Discord channel, which actually, for those of you who don't know, my Discord channel is... There's my Discord channel. So if you want to join my Discord, you can. You can catch up on all the stuff that I do on there. We got quite a few keyboard savvy folks on there who can also answer questions and such. Okay, so now we put these stems back on, and then we clip the houses down on top, and we're done. Now, some people even lube the sliders as well, like the stems on there, and I think that's just overkill. So, because we just lubed the housings where the stems actually go, but some people actually just, they lube the stems themselves. And I don't know. I feel like that's just going a little bit too far for me. Because if we've already lubed where the stems are going to go, I just don't see any point in also lubing, you know, the stems themselves. Maybe it does make a difference, though. It might. I will never know. But we are getting getting close. And then I got it. Man, I am so hungry. And this is the best part, putting it all back together again. And once we get the keycaps on there, we'll do a side-by-side sound test with the other 78 gram Zealios that I have that don't have the top housings lubed. So far I've only done the top housings in 2 switches, or 2 boards. This one and my Zealios. Radon asking, do I prefer wood or metal cases? I have never owned a wood case keyboard, so I don't know. I don't know which one I prefer. I would say that, you know, with what I know about aluminum cases and such, I do like the weight of them. And I don't know. Yeah, I think that, you know, obviously the wood cases are supposedly a lot more quiet sounding, but I haven't had one yet. Maybe soon. There is a wood case available for the Preonic, so maybe when that gets finally gets finalized, I can make one like that. I thought about doing a hand wire with a wood case. So I might end up doing that at some point as well. It'll probably be a hand wire Preonic, obviously, because that's what I do. But yeah, I thought about doing that as well. But I have to get someone to like mill out the wood and all that, you know, or not mill, but CNC the wood for me. And, I don't know. I don't have the necessary knowledge to know how to do that myself. So I'd have to think about how I want it laid out and what it's going to look like. So maybe we will see. What board do you use, Radon? What's your current like favorite? Everybody's got a favorite board. Obviously, mine's the Preonic. Right, home stretch, and then we're going to put on the keycaps. We're going to be putting my GMK laser back on this board. You know what? Maybe not. Maybe I will put. You know what? I think I'm actually going to put DSA Legacy back on here because I really like the feel of the DSA Legacy switch or PBT. It's a really good PBT, and I think it feels pretty good. And I have DSA or I have GMK laser on the Zealios board that I have, but I wouldn't mind switching it out just a little bit. Okay. There we go, everything fully lubed. Okay, now let's get those keycaps on there. Oh boy, now I gotta find them. Extras. Oh, they're upstairs. I know where they are. Well, yeah, I put them upstairs. So tell you what, we'll just put these laser back on there. That's what I had on there originally. Zealios. Oh, nice. You're working on a hand-wired custom layout, custom case? Dude, that's some serious work. What's the board look like? I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like. Oh, I should lube these before I finish up. Lube the stabilizers. I think I already lubed them the other day, but just want to make sure. Yep. Okay, there we go. So you don't have a board, so you're just building one from scratch, basically. That's pretty intense, man. I definitely admire you. I did a hand wire recently, but the hand wire had unfortunately, the hand wire had the box keys on them, and so, you know, with the issue with box keys going on, how they're cracking stems and stuff, I just pulled them. So I wanted nothing to do with having cracked stems, especially because I just got GMK laser, and the last thing I want to do is mess up these really nice keycaps. So I said, hell no. Let's see. I can't remember what I used in some of these spots. So there's gonna be a little bit of guesswork going on here. I think that's this one. Or wait, no. That's this one. I think this guy was over here. Pretty much just guessing where I put all these keycaps because I don't quite remember how I had them set up. That's the beauty of having I think this one was that, and then this I think was here. Wait, that here. Oh, I don't remember. Looks okay though. Looks like I'm missing one key though. Missing that one. Oh yeah, that's right. One of these is not in the right profile. They all look in the right profile. Oh wait, that's right, because there's 2 rows of this. I get so confused. Okay. There we go. So now we're almost done. Putting the keycaps back on. There's a weird sound coming out of it now, but sounds a little bit different than it did before. Not bad though. There we go. Yeah, it's a little quieter now. So we do a sound test between the two. So this is with, these are both 78 gram Zealios. Obviously the switch types or the keycap types are different, so it's not gonna be a perfect test. But these have unlubed, these are lubed except for the top housings, and these are fully lubed. So here we go. So you can hear it like that upstroke, that sound, it's a little bit different. It's dampened just a little bit by having the lube in the top housing. It's not a huge difference, but it's there. And it feels a little bit different on the upstroke as well. And actually, I think I lubed these a little less than I did in these ones. I think these don't have nearly as much lube in them. I'm pretty sure these are the ones I'm pretty sure I lubed these ones. I don't remember now. I might not have. I think that the only ones I've lubed so far are these ones and these ones for sure. These are 67 grams. And I remember lubing these ones. But I changed these ones out recently because I think these also had some. Yeah, these are my 67 grams. This is my only 67 gram board right now. All the other ones are 78 gram. So maybe I did lube these. You know what? I'm gonna find out. We'll just open one up and we'll take a look. It's pretty much one way to tell. Yep, they're lubed. I can see the lube on the switch, on the slider. They're definitely lubed. Interesting. These ones feel very different though. I think that I like the... I don't know, it's hard to tell, Radon. Radon's asking if I like the 67 or 78 grams better. The tactility of the 67 gram is different. It's very different. But I have a lot more 78 gram switches, which is why I used these. It's kind of a weird reason to use them, but I have way more of them because these were really hard to get for a while. 67 grams were very hard to get because everyone was freaking out about them. So I ended up buying a lot more of these 78 gram ones. So I would say that I don't know, I like them equally. I don't think I like one more than the other. I think they're just two different types of feel. The tactility is very different. On these ones, it's much sharper, but the smooth tactility, the smoothness of the tactility on the 78 grams is very different because it's much more round. So I think that it's just a matter of preference, or not preference, but what I want to use for the day. Because I like various parts of it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I like one more than the other, actually. Okay, well, that is it. That's all I really wanted to do today was do these things. So I am actually going to go sign off and get myself some food. So thanks again for watching. I will be posting on my Discord the time that I'm going to be doing the stream for the new Preonic. That's this one here. The prototype Preonic. I will be building this and doing some like QMK programming and stuff on it on Sunday. So keep an eye on my Discord channel. If you're on my Discord channel, you might not be, but if you are not on my Discord channel, feel free to join. That is my Discord channel. So feel free to join up and I will announce on there when I'm going to go live. So thanks again for joining, everybody, and I will see you